Hi, and thanks for logging on to the Daily Dvar Halacha. And here's a brand new Halacha for you, and it's for Thursday, May 21st, 26th day of Iyar, 1 week to Shavuos. Okay, today I want to discuss with you a halacha about timers and adjusting them, possibly in the middle of Shabbos. I thought of this one because some of you are going to have the question this Shabbos about your air conditioning. Some people will leave it on because the temperature is going to be in the high 70s. Some people want to leave it off. Some people might want to just see if we're cold or not and then just toy with them. Now, not all the timers that you're thinking of are going to look like the one I'm doing today. I'll show you a picture in a minute. But these are still in use. And I'm going to just give you one specific situation where there's a surprising leniency. And this has to do with, let's say your lamp is on and you want to play with one of those little trippers to cause it to, I'm not turning it on or off. I'm just moving the tripper. So I don't want you to go past what I'm saying, but I'm just going to show you a specific picture and a situation where you are actually allowed to move it around. So here goes. We're in this situation, and this situation only is the one we're discussing today, and that is here. Look at me here. This is the off tripper. It has already told the air conditioner or the lamp to go off because you knew everyone would be cold by then, or you knew everyone would want the rooms dark by then because it's nearing sleep time. So it's gone off. And here you have the on tripper, which is coming around, and when it gets to right over here, I think. When it gets to here, it's going to turn the thing on. And you realize, oh, no, no, I changed my mind. I don't want it to come on. So you want to pull out the on tripper in the middle of Shabbos. It's like basically scary, right? Because I mean, you're changing the planned on of that lamp or air conditioner. So Rabbi Riviat so clearly in his beautiful picture says removing the later on tripper is permitted, and you're maintaining the status quo. Because look, this was the off tripper. So for all this time that the thing is turning around and around and around, it's supposed to stay off. And now when you pull this tripper away, it's going to continue to stay off. You're maintaining a status quo. It was off and it's going to stay off. And so removing that and causing the off time to be longer is actually allowed. And he specifically points out that you might think, well, why am I allowed to touch it? It's muktzah. He says this thing, these trippers are not muktzah. This dial thing, which we'll get to in a minute, is also not muktzah. And therefore lifting this out to maintain the status quo of leaving the off to be off and a little bit longer is allowed. But now next picture. If you want to remove the entire dial and you say, you know what, it turned it off, everything's good, I want it to just stay that way, I don't want any more on off the whole time, I want that hot plate to just, it kept our food warm and now I just want to remove the dial. Okay, so surprisingly, he says you're allowed to. This dial thing is not muktzah. That's what Rabbi Riviat says. These trippers are not muktzah, so you can remove that dial totally on Shabbos. The only thing that'll be strict here today in today's halacha is that replacing the dial is a problem. That could get into the category of gram havara, which is you're causing that by putting it back in, you're causing it so that later the electricity will turn back on because it was totally disengaged and now you're popping it back in. That's the part that's not allowed. So let me be clear here. Removing the on tripper so that the off could stay off longer because you realize that fan, that air conditioner, that lamp or whatever was off and you want it to stay off longer, you're retaining the status quo. You're just lifting out something that isn't muktzah, so you're allowed to do that. Pulling this whole thing out also is allowed because it's not muktzah, and again, the status quo will just be remain. But re-engaging it, popping this thing back in, is a problem. I just want to caution you here. Be careful about making other comparisons here, like things like moving something so that it'll come on earlier, and be careful about all that. That is nothing that we're stating here today. We're just saying these three clear examples where you're allowing the status quo, that's what's happening in these two, that the off should stay off and actually just stay off longer because you realize that fan, it's making us feel cold or whatever. So you leave the off for longer, that's allowed. Popping this thing back in, not allowed. Other situations that are a little bit different, well, you better discuss them with your rabbi. Just be careful, okay? Because causing things to come back on, is where you get yourself into more dangerous situations on Shabbos. Thanks for logging on. Hope that was not too complicated. Log on again tomorrow for more. Bye bye.